all your tools and note-taking capabilities ready. Your event begins in less than 3 minutes.
Hi, it's Stacy with So Steady, and we are so excited to be here today. I've got Melissa here.
Hi, everybody.
Melissa, you're like an angel. You've
Oh,
got this amazing shining light behind you, and
I was trying to make it brighter in here because it was so like what I see on camera, my face is so dark. So I was like,
yeah.
maybe you can see me.
Well, we are so excited to share your Jump into Spring project today. So, everyone that have
Nice.
your club boxes out there, what we have for you is going to be so amazing because you're going to get out your applique pieces, your
Mhm.
template fuse, your buttons. What else are they using today that's part of their
The
box?
decorative thread. Let's
Oh,
see.
the
Yeah,
templates. They're
the
going to be using the
templates. We're
templates that
using
are in the box.
all of the templates, all sides of them.
So if you don't have the amazing box that is leading you down this path of being able to make a really fun jump into spring quilt project, then you can go ahead and follow along. You can use templates that you have in your library, and you can order some of these things. We have them in our Q2 catalog, so
Mhm.
you can buy these items individually if you so choose. I'll be posting some links today too to some of those items. But if you got the box, you're set because you really don't need to get anything besides maybe a good fun piece of fabric and batting and backing to kind of get started with. And be able to really get inspired in using some of those applique pieces and everything else. So,
Yep.
what else do you want us to tell us about this project? I know now that you love applique.
I
So,
do. I didn't even know that I loved applique. It
yeah.
is so much fun though. I think I just love doing something different. So, you know,
Mhm.
there's so much to do with traditional quilting. I think the applique, it just gives it a different look. It gives it dimension, and you get to be a little bit more creative, which I really like. So I hope everybody enjoys it. It's a little bit different, but it was fun to make use of all of the tools in the box and then just do something fun for spring. So some of it I kind of just made up as I went along. So hopefully
I love it.
yeah, you like it. But anyways, you guys will be able to see the finished project as we get going, but it was fun to use the buttons. We did put in some little applique flowers. We put in a pattern to make the little terracotta pots, was a lot of fun. You'll be using some decorative stitches on your machine. And again, then using the decorative thread is a lot of fun too, just to add that little like shimmer and bling to your, you know, your leaves and the stems. So it was a great project to make. I really enjoyed it. So I hope you guys do too.
I love it. Now, one of the things that I wanted to mention too is if you're someone that maybe is more excited about the embroidery side of things, we
Mhm.
are going to have an option coming soon on the university class where you can download, I think, the embroidery um, files to help satin stitch those applique pieces. Is that
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So those are going to be available for you to use if you wanted to do more of a quilting in the hoop
Mhm.
project as opposed to a ruler work project. But today we're doing ruler work, guys. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to have Mel take it away. This is a bigger class. So if you can't watch it all now, don't
Yep.
worry. It's going to be saved on YouTube. It's on the So Steady University. So you can kind of watch both for the next month or two, and then on the university for life. So if you're a Club Box member, you'll be able to get there and really take advantage of those tools and that project for as long as you'd like. So we'll go ahead and let Melissa take it away in the class. And again, it's about an hour and 45 minutes. So ask questions away. We'll try to
Yep.
jump in and answer them in the chat. And then, like I said, I'll be posting some links too to some of those tools and stuff that she's using. All right. Thanks so much, Melissa.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Mm.
Hi everyone, it's Melissa with So Steady. I am here to walk you through a video demonstration of our new Jump into Spring Applique project. This is a project that we sent out in your Q2 boxes that you should be getting soon, and I hope you're excited to join me as I do a little video tutorial of how to create this lovely little Jump into Spring project. It is almost all applique, from the pots to the leaves and stems and to the flowers. And it was a lot of fun. It really got me excited about spring and just colors and flowers. It was really creative to do. So hopefully you enjoy it. So to talk about a little bit of some of the stuff that we're going to be using that came in your Q2 box. To start out, you should have gotten this little packet, which will include your printed instructions. So I'll go ahead and pull those out. I think this is really nice because I love doing the videos, but this is a step-by-step color with pictures of how to make this project, so you always will have this. I feel like this is a project you could make a bunch of different ways. You could change up the fabric. It's a great gift project or something just to hang outside during spring, maybe like a little welcome sign at your front door. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. So you'll be getting the full instructions. You'll also be getting 3 applique flowers. These are the 3 that I got. So you might have gotten, we sent 2 sizes. There are 2 different size flowers, I should say. So you might have gotten 2 large and 1 small, or 2 small and 1 large. But either way, I think it'll look good. We're trying to mix it up. And then you also got your 3 buttons. I just love these buttons. Oops, I dropped one. They are adorable. You should have gotten a pink, a blue, and a purple button. And then we also sent in your Temply Fuse, because we're going to be fusing the flowers, so that'll be included. And then some of the other items we'll be using from the box, of course, our decorative thread ruler foot to do the decorative thread that you can see on the stems and leaves. I thought it was nice to just come back and highlight the outer edge of the flowers and the stems and the leaves. And then I also used the decorative thread to stitch down the buttons. So you would have gotten your decorative thread along with some other thread from Wonderfill that'll be included in your box. We'll be using the circle crosshair ruler, which is a great new tool. It helps you find the center really easy, especially when we're doing the flowers. And then of course our new templates included in the box as well. So I really hope you enjoy this project. It was a lot of fun. Have fun with it, play with your fabrics, and anyways, enjoy, and we're gonna get started. All right, so to get started, it's really simple. All I did was get a fat quarter ready for the top, which is gonna be the background, and then obviously my batting and my backing. So I have this all pressed and ready to go. So it's kind of like a blank slate, I call it, before we start the artistic work. So if you jump into your instructions here, we're gonna start with the pots. Now you can do the pots two ways if you're used to doing applique. Maybe you have your own favorite way to do applique. But as part of the instructions in the very back, you'll see two pot designs that we gave you, one medium and two large. Now you could do two of the small and one of the large, totally up to you. I liked doing the two bigger pots with the smaller pot in the middle. I thought that it gave it kind of like that dimension, like the smaller ones kind of sitting in front of the other ones, but mix it up. I think it's kind of fun to play around with it. So you will need both of these. Go ahead and tear those off there. And then to do the pots, you can do it one of two ways. If you have like a light box and you're used to just tracing, you could actually use our sew study table and one of our light sticks, and you can put your fabric over this. I showed that in the instructions, obviously not doubled up like that, but you can open it up here. Actually trace, you can kind of almost see it right here and just trace this out. If you want to do like a raw edge applique and then cut it out of your fabric, or what I like to do, I found this great product called Whisper Light by Thistledown and Company. I absolutely love it. So if you can see on my pots, I have turned over edges. So they're nice clean edges. They're not like a raw edge. Sometimes it's nice to have a raw edge if you want to come back and do like a blanket stitch or a decorative stitch, or sometimes you just might like that look. There's a lot of ways to turn over the edges of your applique, but this product, I just absolutely love it. So it's called Whisper Light, and that's what I'm going to use. And it's like a super lightweight, I'll show you a piece of it here. It's a very, very, very lightweight, almost see-through. You don't even know it's there. So it gives your product a little bit of stability too, like I wanted in the pots, but it doesn't interfere. You can quilt right over it. You can see I did decorative stitches right over it. It's very, very lightweight. So what I like to do is use this product, and just in case you haven't heard of it or you really like it, we also are including a coupon from Thistledown and Company. We want to say thank you to Linda for doing this. She's giving you a 20% discount if you want to buy some of her product. But again, I love it. It's called Whisper Light Tracer Foundation. And it's really easy to use. It's great for doing like Dresden plates too. I think I used it on a class showing how to use it with Dresden plates. But I'm going to use it to turn my pots so that the edges are nice and clean. And to do that, it's really easy to get started. Let me move I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way, just in case. I don't want to get any marks on it quite yet. But what we're going to do, let's start with one of the large pots. So we're going to do one of those. You're just going to take a piece of this Whisper Light paper, and I'm just going to make sure I have enough to kind of go around the pot. And then I'm just going to use a marking pen. I'm using a pen that's like a heat erasable pen that I could use on my fabric too. You won't see this either way, but what you're going to do is I'm just going to trace the pot just right on top of this Whisper Light paper. And this is a nice thing too, because then you can keep this paper pattern and reuse it as many times as you want. So I don't need it like really dark. I don't need to I just need it to be able to see the shape of the pot. You might not be able to see it in the camera, but I can see the shape of the pot. And that's really all that I need. Because then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece of my pot fabric. Just find a piece of scrap fabric that you want for your pots. I'm going to lay this right on top. And then what I'm going to do is go over to my sewing machine and I'm going to stitch this down right on the top. And that is how we're going to make our pot. So let me get set up and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so I actually went ahead and redid it using a blue pen because I didn't realize I was using a red pen. And then of course I have like this orange red fabric. So I was like, where's it at? So I went ahead and again traced the pot, put the whisper light over the top of it. You just trace it out. And then I went to my sewing machine. I just used a piecing stitch, and you literally just stitch it down following the shape. Then what you're going to do is come back, and we're going to cut, and again, this is your fabric's right side up. So you want to stitch it right side up. And I'm going to cut 1/4 inch around all of this right here. Or roughly 1/4 inch. So I'm not going to get too technical like measuring it. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. And we're going to cut out this pot shape here. Try to hold it up in the camera while I'm doing it. Let's see here. And you don't want to get too close to your stitch lines because we want enough of that fabric to fold over. That's what's going to give us those nice clean edges here. I'm just going to follow around. Okay, so should look like this. Wrong side of fabric should look like this right now. Again, it's just like super lightweight, really soft. And I'm gonna grab you'll want a turner. I like this one, I think, just because it's not like super sharp, because you want to be careful. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna just cut just a little sliver, not in the fabric, but just on that whisper light paper. Get it here if I can grab it. And I'm gonna cut just like a little opening here all the way up to the top, right before I hit the stitches. Don't cut through the stitches. And the bottom. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn this inside out. And that's what's gonna give us those nice finished edges on the pot. So I'm gonna turn it inside out, and then you're gonna take your little turner and you're just gonna run it along inside right on the stitch line to give that nice fold. Don't press too hard. Again, you don't want to poke through it or anything. You're just trying to get the fabric to kind of lay around nicely. And I'll show you what it looks like here when I get it done. You just kind of mess with it a little bit until you get it how you want it. Sometimes I'll turn it back the other way and just kind of lay it down and make sure I'm kind of getting overall the right shape that I want. And then we're going to give it a press once we feel like we've got it how we want it. Go give it a little bit of a press too, not kind of just lets everything lay into place. Looks like I need to pop out my little corners there a little bit. Okay, so it's going to start taking on the shape of your pot, just like that. And you won't see this. This is going to get ironed behind just like that. And that's what it will look like. So I'm going to go give it a press, and I'll be right back. There you go, pot. That's what it looks like on the back. And that's what it looks like now. So we're going to do 3 pots. Again, choose what sizes you want. If you want too big or too small, totally up to you. But we're going to do 3 pots. And let's see. We're just going to go get those ready right now. So don't put any fusible on them or anything yet. We're just going to get the shape of the pots done, and then we're going to add some decorative stitches to those, and that's what's going to give it a little bit more character. I chose, let's see, so these were more of a brown color, so I chose kind of like a green for my decorative stitches. But again, play with color. If you want it super colorful, use a really colorful thread. I'm not sure what color thread I'm going to use yet, but I'm going to finish making my pots, and then we'll go over and do some decorative thread stitches. Here are our 3 little pots. There we go. And I also wanted to show you, let me grab it real quick. It's over here. If you wanted to do the other way where you like the raw edge applique a little bit better, this one I just cut out, so that one I didn't use the whisper light on. That one's just the regular way. And this I used the whisper light product on as well. So if you do like that, again, check out Thistledown & Company's website. They also have some video tutorials on there using the product as well. But I really liked it doing I thought it was perfect for the pots. And again, it gives them a little bit of stability too, which I think kind of stands out in the project when it's done. And it kind of helps too when we're doing the decorative stitches along here. So that is what we're going to do next. And then again, you got to keep your paper patterns for future use when you want to do this project again, or maybe a different project using pots. So we're going to go over to the machine and I'm going to add some decorative stitches to these. And then if if there's anything I kind of want to make sure the shape all looks good and press them again, you can do that now. But those are the 3 pots so far. So let's go put some decorative stitches on them. So most of you are probably familiar with doing decorative stitches, so I won't spend a ton of time on this, but we have our pots now. So they have their edges turned over, and I'm just going to do some decorative stitches. On the bigger ones, I was doing like 3 sets of decorative stitches, and then on the smaller one, I was doing 2. But I was just going to use my 12-point crosshair to draw a line just so I stay nice and straight, which sometimes I still don't stay nice and straight, but we'll give it a go here. So I'm just going to draw a line, kind of like my line that I want to follow, and then just choose a couple decorative stitches. And then as far as like thread color, you can mix it up. I'm doing like a little light sage green to match the background of my fabric. And just going to have a little bit of runner here so I can kind of get my machine started, make sure I like the stitch. And then I'm just going to line it up. Oh, I think I'm going to do it this way. Sort of get it lined up, I guess. And just do my decorative stitches. I think I like it, so I'm going to actually, I just wanted to make sure what I was doing. Okay. And yeah. And I feel like this just gives the pot a little bit of character, kind of helps define that lip top portion of the pot a little bit. So again, do what you want, be creative. You don't have to do any if you don't want to, or if you just want to do some like little lines or like a little wavy line, you can do that as well. Or just like one decorative stitch if that's all you want. So I'm just going to go ahead and get my pots all decorated here with my stitches, and then we'll move on to the next step. There's my decorative stitches. Those are the 3 that I chose for this pot. So I'm going to go give it a little bit press and do the other 3, and then we'll lay it out on our top of our fabric and get some placement going and see what it looks like. There we go. So those are my 3 pots. And so again, we're not going to fuse them right yet. We're just kind of laying out our placement first, kind of seeing how everything looks. And I didn't do it on the first project that I did, but I decided to do it on this one. I just did some light quilting in the background. I just used a thread that matched my background, and used the coil templates by Donna McCauley, and just did a couple little coil quilting in the background just to give it a little more interest. So you don't have to do that. That's not in the instructions. That's just something this time I thought, oh, I'm going to play around with it since I'm doing it again, and see if I just like some light quilting in the background too, to kind of fill in, to fill it in a little bit, or just give it some interest. So I did do that, and then I'm just kind of making sure that I'm going to lay my pots out a little bit, see how I like them placed. Make sure you leave room down here to square up at the end, and also for your binding, so you don't want to get too close to the edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab our flowers and then our templates, because right now we need to now make the stems. So we are going to focus on making the stems here, getting our flowers. And so I like to get everything kind of in place before you do like your final fusing of your flower in your pots, because as you can see on this one, I kind of put the leaf behind the flower, and then on this one I put the flower over the pot, and I feel like that just gives it again, helps give it some depth, make it a little bit more realistic. So I kind of wait to fuse everything down until I have all that kind of placed out. So get your scrap fabric that you're going to use for your leaves and your 3 flower templates that came in your project. And we can go ahead and get the fusible on the back of this, but don't actually fuse it yet to the background of your fabric. All right, so these are the 3 flowers that I got. So I got 2 large and 1 small here. And I also got some scrap fabric I'm going to use for my leaves on one of them. I think I'll change it up like I did with the first one and do different color leaves on each one, because we're going to do different leaves. So that's nice too, so that they kind of look, well, it's spring. You want it to look colorful. So for my first one, I've got this kind of like green, and it's kind of got little leaves in the background already. So I thought that would be good. So I'm just going to cut a little square of that. And I'm going to show you a quick video on doing the template fuse on the back of your flowers to get them prepped. And again, we're not going to iron them on, but you want to go ahead and get the template fuse on them now so that they're ready to go. And then if you like that and you want to use, you might want to buy some more template fuse, because I think we just gave you a little bit of a sample. But I like to put it on my leaves as well. Even though we're going to do a lot of stitching, so we're going to kind of stitch them down. We're going to also do the decorative thread, so I don't think they're going to go anywhere, but because it's applique, it's nice to have that fusible on it as well. So I'm going to put fusible on all of the back of my scrap fabrics that I'm going to be using for my leaves and stems. So you might want to do that as well. So I'm going to get mine prepared, and I'm going to show you a quick photo or video, I'm sorry, on doing your template fuse while I get mine ready, and then we'll start kind of laying out, and we're going to go and start stitching out. We're going to start again with this one right here. I'm going to stitch out that one right here, and we're going to be using our new templates that we got in our box, so that'll be a lot of fun. So these flowers were cut out using AccuQuilt's Rose of Sharon die number 2, I believe, and it comes with a few different size flowers on it and a couple leaves. And so we thought it would be fun to cut out a couple flowers and send them in your club box along with some of our template fuse, and show you how to do a little bit of applique, and then how you can do applique on a quilt project and also do embroidery on top of that, or ruler work on top of that. So we've got a lot of fun projects that we're going to be showing you this quarter. So you should have gotten 3 flowers. We tried to mix up the fabric a little bit because after all, it is spring, summer, and we're focusing on wildflowers. So I think the more color, the better. And we wanted you to have options. So for whatever background fabric you decide to use, you should have some options, because we sent in a lot of different colorful cut flowers. And you should have gotten 2 different sizes. You might have gotten 2 large and 1 small, or 2 small and 1 large. And we try to just mix it up so it'd be kind of fun to play around with. So if you're new to applique, we also sent in some of our template fuse. I don't know if you're familiar with our So Steady template fuse, but we sent in a little piece of that, so that we're going to use that to actually put the fusible webbing on the back of our flowers, and I'll show you how to do that. So then that way they can be ironed onto our project, and we'll have a cute, fun little flower to start a project with. So I'll go a little bit more into the project later. I am doing a what we're going to call a spring forward wall hanging. That's going to include the applique flowers, and then piecing together the arrow block, which is part of your 1/4 block club as well. So first thing, and I also am going to show you another product that I think is really helpful. So if you don't have this, it's not a necessity, but if you do a lot of applique, this is a lifesaver, because if you know, applique can get a little messy when you're doing all of the putting the fusible on your fabric. So this product is called Somatic. It's an applique fusing mat, and it's like a Teflon mat I don't know if you've seen them in baking. I've seen them used like in baking before, but it's just a Teflon mat. And so what happens is when you put your fabric on it and you put your fusible webbing down and you're going to iron that on, a lot of times everywhere that's not on fabric, it gets messy and it's going to stick to whatever you're ironing on. And the applique, this Teflon mat, it just disappears. It just disintegrates. It goes away. It doesn't even make a mess. And you just roll it up when you're done. So I'm going to show you how to use that because I think it's really useful. And if you do a lot of applique, it might be something you want to invest in. And again, this is Somatic, and it is just called an applique fusing mat. So I'm going to lay that down on, I just have my felt, little piece of felt thing here so I can lay this down on it. And then I'm going to take my fusible applique that you got in your box and your flowers. Make sure your iron is nice and hot. And then, so first what we're going to do is just get the fusible on our fabric. So there's going to be the slick side, which is the paper side. And then you can fill the webbing of the actual Template Fuse on the other side. So this webbing is what we want on the back of the flowers. So the easiest way that I find to do it is just to put my flowers down. And we gave you enough so that you should easily be able to put this in a row. And we're going to put that fusible side on the back of our fabric. So we're just going to lay it down just like that. Grab your iron, which should be nice and hot, and I'm going to iron it right on this mat. And again, the nice thing is everywhere you see that doesn't have fabric, normally that would stick to, like, say, whatever you're ironing on, or you can put a piece of paper down, but this, it doesn't. It just melts away. I'll show you when I'm done. So, and I think a lot of times what a lot of people do is you're pressing really hard, and it's really not about so much the pressure as just the heat. You really want that heat to melt that glue, in essence, is what it is, and fuse to the back of that fabric. So it'll fuse to another fabric that we're going to put it on. So I just like to hold it a little bit and make sure that I've got it on there nice and good. Go over it a couple times, make sure I really got that heat melted on there so it's really on the back of my fabric nice and good. So you don't want to do it twice. This product works really well. The Template Fuse, I really like it. Easy to use. So let's see if that's enough. And then with this great Teflon mat, all I have to do, look, there's nothing there. Just, it ate it all up. And it's not messy or anything. So I'm gonna now just pull my flowers off of there. And it's probably hard to see in the video, but you'll see a little sheen. So I can actually feel it. That transferred right onto the back of my fabric. So those are all now fused and ready to be put on a project. And that's kind of the fun thing with applique. You can get really creative with it. There's so many different projects that you can do with it. So what we're gonna do now, I'm gonna roll this up out of the way because we don't need that. I cut a piece of fabric right here, and I'm going to be using this in a project later that I will be recording. That's my Spring Forward project. And so I'm just cutting a piece of fabric now that I'll be using in that, but I'll show you that in the class. But you can use whatever you want to applique your flowers to. So I was going to lay them out just so they were a little... So this is going to be what my idea is I'm just going to lay them on the fabric I want it fused to. So once I iron this down, it is permanently ironed on there. So make sure I'm not up to the edge because I'm going to be sewing this piece on to another piece. If I like that, or maybe I want the flowers looking like that. That's kind of fun. You get to play around with them before you actually iron them down. So I'm going to go with that. And maybe I liked that better. Go like that. Leave myself a little bit of room. It'll be a fun project later. I'm going to actually use some decorative thread and connect these and do some little leaves, and then I'm going to do some little ruler work in the middle of these flowers. So it'll be a lot of fun. Anyway, so that is ready. So all I have to do now is actually iron those into place. And it's simple as that. So once I've ironed those on, they are permanently on my fabric, which is nice because then when I'm doing ruler work, or like say you're using your decorative thread, you're adding some more even embroidery designs, if you wanted to add embroidery designs. So I'm just going to press that on there pretty good. Again, it's that heat is now going to fuse that flower to my fabric. Make sure you get the edges really good so they don't curl up. And there you go. My applique pieces are now stuck on my fabric permanently. So anyways, that's how easy it is. I hope you have fun with it. If you don't have a project in mind, stay tuned and I'll be doing a project with this a little bit later. But otherwise, have fun with your applique. And if you're new to applique, our Temply Fuse is definitely a great product to have, as well as a Teflon mat. Okay, so here is the new one, and we're going to start with this flower. I kind of have everything pinned semi where I want it, so hopefully that's really where I want it, because I'm going to actually stitch this one right on it, so I can't move it when it's done. And I think I'm going to move them a little closer together, because I'm a little close to the edge of my fabric over here, and I want to make sure I have enough room for my binding and I don't actually like interfere with that. So I think I'm going to move that one up a little bit, give me a little bit more, and these two are just going to be a little closer, just a little bit more room there. I guess I made my panel just a little, might have squared it up just a little too much, got it a little small. All right, so I guess I'll leave that where it's at. This, and then I just unpinned this one just in case. So obviously this is going to be more than I need for my sample fabric, but I'm just gonna, I guess I could cut it down too so it's not quite so big. But I was starting just at the tip of the pot. Actually, maybe give me a little bit of room to cut. So what I'll do is I'm gonna follow the stitch right along there for the stem, and then that'll give me this to kind of cut back. So my flower was like right around maybe like that. So then we can come up and do our, maybe I'll give my room over here for the leaf to come out a little bit more. A little bit about placement, and again, it's just kind of playing around with it. There's no specific measurements, just kind of visually how you like it. So I think I use this one first for the, so I'm just going to kind of lay it out and see. I might not use the whole template, so because again, that's kind of big. I don't have a ton of room. I could go up a little taller though, so maybe I will. Maybe I'll move that up. Maybe I'll do, that's why I had it cut this way. Sorry, I'm kind of like making this up as I go. All right. And stay away from my edge over there so I can see it. So maybe if I have it kind of so the stem kind of comes up like that, you know how you see flowers are kind of hanging towards the side. So I might follow this up to there. And then you notice it's nice that we have the little edged lines on here, the 1/4 inch edged lines. So depending on how thick I want my stem, I usually do between like just like not quite a 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit shy of a 1/2 inch, I think I did on the last one. And you can use your stitching line or your spacing gauge. We're going to move it over, follow the edge line, and then we'll come back down, and then we'll just go straight across for the end of the stem. And the nice thing about, I like that about that too, because once we cut it out, I can lift the flower up and kind of place it over it versus the stem being on top of the flower, because I think it looks a little nicer. So I'm going to move that out of the way for the moment, and I can always give myself more room than needed. So what we're going to do is I have my decorative thread ruler foot on. Even though we're not doing decorative thread yet, it's still a Westerly ruler foot for the rulers. And let's see, I just have a green thread to just kind of blend in a little bit, because we're going to come back with the decorative thread you got and outline everything. So this is just kind of to stitch it down in place. So what I'm going to do is start at the bottom. Oops. Make sure my machine is all set up. Like so. Get my needle a little bit more in line. Okay, so there's the tips. I'm going to just go almost to the tip of my top of my fabric pot right there and start. And then I'm just going to follow this up for the stem. See if I like where that's at. If I don't, I might scooch it just a little bit more down. Okay, let's see, do I like that? Gives me plenty of room for my leaves. Yep, let's just go ahead and we're just gonna follow that up. Then I'm going to just travel over, let's see. How big do I want it? I was using my spacing gauge to kind of give me an idea of what I wanted the stem to look like. So I think like a 1/2 inch is good. So I'm just going to use my spacing gauge here to kind of help me travel over, I don't know, about a 1/2 inch or so. Again, the nice thing is we have the lines on the template, so I just keep going until I get to the first line there. And then you can see how it lines right back up. And then I'm going to follow that all the way back down. And that's going to be my stem. And then you can use the straight edge of this, I guess, if you want. This is a good idea. You have the nice straight edge over there for this. And I'm just going to follow that back and connect those two at the bottom. All right. Let me trim that off there. So that is what our stem's going to look like. So I think that'll be about good, because then once I put my flower on it like that, that'll look good. Might even move it over a little bit more so it's more like that. There we go. So I like that. So I'm going to use this template now and create my leaves. And again, it's just kind of playing around with it. You don't have to do them really big. I think on this side, I'm going to come down a little bit lower, and then on the next one, maybe I'll come up a little bit higher. So you can, I guess, use it either way. So you can kind of start right here and go up. We'll do that. So we're going to start right here. So I'm going to get this positioned. I'm just kind of getting my needle where I want it first. Let me put that back up there. See how I liked that. That's going to go right about there. Yeah, that'll be good. So I'll do this one, maybe not quite as big. We'll give it a little bit of a stem. So we're just going to follow the template. And you can see the first edge of the leaf that it's going to make. I'm going to go all the way to the very tip. And we're going to stop. We're going to flip this around, and you can see how that will already make that nice shape. So I'm going to move it a little bit to make sure. I want to come down and meet right in there. So, and you can see the shape. I don't know if you can see it as good on camera, but you can see the shape of the leaf. So depending again on how you want it to look when it comes down here, you can come all the way. I might use my stitching line disc or my spacing gauge here just to kind of make sure I stop right on that stem a little bit. I think I want to come down and just hit on the stem right there. And I'm going to follow this back around. And stop right when I get to that other stitch line where I started. And there we go. There's one leaf. And we're going to come back and we'll add veining with the decorative thread. So we'll add some like little leaf veins in it, but we're not going to do that right now. And then we're just going to come back and do the other side. So there we go. I don't know why it freezes. It keeps doing that on me. It's super irritating. So I'm just going to come up and do this again. Turn this down so then I can come down and hit the stem like right in here. And I think that'll still give me really close to the edge of my project here. I guess I want to be careful about that so I still have room to bind it, but there we go. I think that was more what I was wanting. I like that better. Okay, so then when I put my flower on here too, I liked the idea of kind of covering the leaf up a little bit as well. Kind of give that character, so that's what it's going to look like. So we're going to cut that out and see if we like it. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, move my flower out of the way. I'm just going to start down here. Oh, I'm a little bit a ways from my... This is what I get from not coming all the way down to my thing. Actually, I'm going to leave that little bit there. Now I'm getting really particular. I shouldn't quite be this particular. But I'm going to cut out around here, but I was a little bit away from my pot. Oh, actually I can move my pot up. I forgot about that. I haven't put it in place yet. Another good reason why we don't want to actually iron them into place until we're done. So I'm just going to follow along my leaves and get them cut out. Carefully not to touch my, or cut my stitches. I really like doing this type of project. It's a lot of fun. I feel like it really is creative. You know, you're not necessarily following a set pattern. You're just, I don't know, it's kind of like drawing or painting, I guess, but you're doing it with fabric. So I find it's a lot of fun. It can be frustrating though when you're not, you're just kind of making it up as you go. And then like I did earlier and you're having to take stuff back out because you're like, oh, I don't like that, or it didn't end up how I thought it was going to end up. When I was creating this project, I had a couple trial versions, and yeah, there was a lot of stuff I didn't like. And then, but then as I keep doing it, this is the fourth one I've done. I find little things that I'm like, oh, I want to do that different next time when I recreate it again, or like I wanted to add the quilting in the background this time, or so that's kind of fun too, because every time you make it, you might do something just a little bit different. And depending on the time of the year, you could use different colors to make this like a fall project, which would be kind of fun. Make them look more like sunflowers or something that blooms in the fall. A little closer there. Come back down. That off. Clip this off. Again, I can move my pot up. So now I don't know what I did here. I got this really tiny area that I'm going to try to see if I can get my scissors in there without clipping the stitches. So you could use a bigger background piece of fabric. I don't know why I was trying to shove it on this tiny little piece of fabric. I guess I didn't want it to be a really big, like wall hanging. I just wanted it to be kind of like a small little, and I wanted to be able to use like a fat quarter. So I'm just shoving it all in this little tiny area there. There's our leaves. So nice thing about this pot, since I just kind of pinned him in place, what I kind of wanted him to be was more like up like that. And that way I can kind of cover the stem. I'm gonna move him over a little bit. And then my flower will be kind of like that. There, what do you think? I like that. So I might actually go press all this into place so it doesn't, excuse me, it doesn't move around while I'm working on the other ones. And I think I like it. Or I can just pin it as well until I get the other leaves done, that way in case I need to adjust the pots. Maybe I'll do that. I better play it safe because I might need to adjust the pots when I do these next ones. So I would encourage you to, let's play around with the designs a little bit. I am gonna do the next one over here, the next big one. I'm gonna save the little one for last. And I'm gonna do this shape. So let's try it a different way. Let's actually do it on our fabric and then cut out our fabric first and see how we like that as well. So we can use the template to make this shape on our fabric. We'll use our stitching line discs and kind of draw it out. So you could draw it out like when you buy applique paper patterns online, if you've done that before, and you just get the print out of the paper. So we could draw it out on paper first and then put our fabric over the paper and cut it out, or we could actually draw it on our fabric if you have a good pen that you can use that's not permanent. And then we can come back and cut it out too. Either way. And then since we put the applique, we'll put applique on it. It'll stay nice and down, but then once it's on there, we can always just come back and we can just follow along and do a nice little stitch around the outside as well. Kind of like what we did here, but this one's already cut out. So let's just go through that first too, just to give you options. Again, I want to make sure you have all the options because the templates can be used either way. I know we use the templates a lot. Obviously, they're meant for ruler work, but it's fun to use them to actually cut out shapes too. So they can be used a lot for doing applique. I use a lot of our templates to do more than just ruler work, but to get shapes of things. So another way to get your use out of them. So let me get set up and we'll try drawing this one out. And we're going to use the, I believe for this one, I used just the stationery feather. So let me get this stuff out of the way and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so I just got a scrap piece of fabric here and I was just going to show you how to do it this way. We're going to try to make this shape a little bit. So this might get a little bit tricky. Some of this I just kind of made up as I went. So let's see, what did I end up doing? I'm going to lay this one out just so I can kind of see. So I think I started about right there on the template. So I'm going to start about right there. And I feel like I'm kind of practicing at the same time. So there's not a lot of like true rhyme or reason to it here. I'm just was trying to make different shapes of leaves. So we're just going to come up. And then I think I'm not going to quite come to the first one. Maybe. That's to the edge of the template. I'll come a little bit further. I'm kind of like 1/8 of an inch off there. Okay. So let's just use that as our stem. Let's just say we like that stem. And then we're going to switch out. So our needle stopped right here. We're going to switch out and do this template. And I did a little bit, you can see there's a little bit of an arc up. So, I mean, you can have them more pointed like this, more pointed flat. Again, that's the nice thing about it. So what I'm going to do is take that line right there and line it up with my stitching line disc, or what would in essence be my ruler foot. And I'm going to give it a little bit of tilt up just because I want it to have that look. And I'm going to come right to this right here. And I'm going to flip it. Sorry, this gets real crazy here. And that same line that I stopped at before, that's where I'm going to start it. And you can see where this one will come down. So you can see how we kind of like made a little, we're going to kind of come down and connect it and go to the other one. And hopefully keep that one continuous line. So I have it to where I'm going to stop kind of like right in the center of that stem. And it's about right. Oh. Fabric got caught about right there. So that's what that part's going to look like. So you can see it's going to look a little bit like that. And then it'll probably look better when it's stitched out than when I'm doing it this way. We're going to flip the template and make sure we're in the middle. And again, we're going to start on that little line there. And then if you want your, again, to have a little bit of an angle on that, and then we're going to come like this up to this one, flip the template back down to where that line again. And we want to meet up with this right here. So this is where I might use my spacing gauge. I think I did it when I was doing it on my thing to make sure that we kind of, so I want to be about right. Almost. Well, that's close enough. You guys get the gist here. Then we're going to come down and go like this. And that would be our shape. And then we could cut that out. If we feel like that, doing that on the machine might be a little bit difficult. So, yeah, we can do that. That's one way you can do it. And again, just kind of play around with that. I think I did just like a lot of drawing it out, just kind of messing around with it. And then when I was actually going ready to stitch it, I just started with my stem and then just kind of played around with like how I wanted leaves to look, and then created a new leaf. So go ahead and create one like that. I've got one already pulled out here, but I might cut this one out too and just see what it looks like, which one I like better. And then we're going to stitch that. We're going to go ahead and place that on our fabric. All right, that is it cut out. So that's what it looks like. I think it's going to look different every time I do it. That's the fun thing about it, I guess. You can just play around with it. I like it a little off because I think it's more realistic. So yeah, you can cut out 2, 3, 4 of them ahead of time. Again, sometimes it is nice to do it, use the templates on your fabric and then cut it out versus stitching it down first with the templates. But again, either way, and then you can come back and use the templates to stitch it down too if you want, or if you're really good about just following, you could do that as well. So those are those leaves. So let's get that one put into place, and then we'll start on our last one. See what kind of fun design we can come up with that one. All right, let me get myself cleaned up here. I made a big old mess. Stuff everywhere. Okay. Scissors and pen. I've got those. Let me get my little pins out of the way. I'll stick those over there for now. I don't really need them. Got this. Okay, so we're gonna stitch one of these down. So I just kind of got my pot into place. Make sure I'm gonna pin him right here and just make sure he doesn't move, although I can move him later when I'm done. But so this is the flower I have up here. I don't know what's on it. And I was gonna kind of turn it to where one of the little, I don't know, where the petal comes in. So it's kind of like leaning towards that because that's how the stem's leaning. So I could put it like that. Or if I like this one better, I can do this one. I'll lay him out. Not sure I like this fabric as much. I was just using a scrap fabric. I want it to kind of stand out, so I think I might use the blue one. But that's what it can look like. So, yeah, I think I'm going to use this one because I like the, and it already has my fusible on it, so I was kind of playing around with it earlier. Let's kind of look at it like that, maybe. Is that too much of a tilt? Might move it back up more like, or I could bring it down a little bit on the stem too and have it kind of like that. There, I like that. So I am going to pin him into place. So I know that's where I wanted him. So play around with the placement until you get it how you like it. And then since I already have fusible, I cut this out already and fusible on it, I'm gonna actually go fuse this into place. And I'll probably go ahead and do this other one over here because then all we really have left is the middle. So I'm gonna make sure all of these are in place. So I'm gonna get my other flower over here. And again, you can use a template to stitch this one down, but since it already has the fusible on it, I'm just going to fuse it into place. And since we're going to come back with a decorative thread anyways and stitch that down, that way I don't need to have to double the stitches like I did on this one over here. So again, just different techniques, different ways to do it. And I'm going to go ahead and press these into place and then I will be back. Okay, so we have our third leaf to make now. Let's see what different kind of leaf looks that we can get. So what I was thinking of, sometimes it's nice to use the, like say maybe we'll have a middle stem kind of come up. Oh, what am I doing here? Sorry, I'm just gonna practice here. It's like, say we're gonna have this one come up. And I'm just gonna travel over a little bit. Come back down, but maybe I stop like right here. And then I can use, got a plethora of stuff to use. You can just use whatever straight edge you want and make like a little stem that kind of comes out, like say like that. So maybe we want a stem first and then a leaf. And then if we wanted, we could just use this to make a little leaf. It's like a little, I don't know, a little finial, but it could be like a little leaf like that. And then if we wanted, we could have done like the bigger one, or actually just see what these look like. Maybe you want more of a feather looking leaf. Kind of more like that. Or you could actually still use that straight line, come over and make your leaf look a little bit like that. So then it's actually on a stem. Wait, moving these things around too much, confusing myself here. Kind of line that back up, and then you could follow this back down. It was kind of fun to play around with it at first with the stitching line, just kind of see what I want to do. And back down, so then maybe you have two of these come off of here. I don't know. We'll just see what that looks like. Oh, let me get that on my... If you like that look a leaf, you could do that. Let's turn this over. And then again, you could still use, I like the idea of using this one as an actual stem. I just liked the curve of it too. And then we're gonna come over a little bit to maybe about right there. Come down. Then you could use it to actually make another little, like maybe a mini stem off of here. Flip this around. Maybe start down here if you want it a little bit smaller. You can even start on that little line down there. Is that where I want it? Just to right there. I'm not being real precise, but you can make kind of like a little stem like that. Or if you wanted this to actually have, more of that kind of a stem too. So for instance, if you wanted it to kind of come out like this and then go into the leaf, and then we'll come back and put in, our little leaf things, you could do that too. A lot of different ways to use them, a lot of different designs, a lot of different shapes. Play around with it and do something fun for your third one. And again, if you feel like you're a little nervous of doing that on your project, play around with it on paper and then just draw it out on your fabric like we did before and cut out your fabric first. That's an easy way to do it too. And sometimes that is better when you're doing applique again too, because then you can place things where you want them and move them around and move your colors around. Sometimes I'll do like 3 or 4 different ones first, get them all cut out, and then you're just kind of moving things around and playing with it. That's a lot of fun too. So let's get on to our third one and then we'll move on to some quilting. Okay, so I wanted you to see what I've got going on here. So I did press these all down to place now and this one down into place. I haven't done this flower yet. I did do the pot, most of the pot. I think I can still position it a little bit, but I cut out this one. I just cut out now. So I traced again, I used the template and just traced it on paper. Using both of these, you can use, again, just using a little bits of the straight edge where I wanted it to make my, start out a little bit. Then I came up and used, you know, the leaf to make the leaf and the stem, and the same thing with the other side. And then just kind of changed how small or how big, you know, you wanted that to be and kind of offset it. So I guess you just got to be a little artistic there. So you have that one, kind of play around with it, move it down, kind of put it where you want it, have it look like that. Got this one, same thing, kind of move it down, play around, get them where you want it, and then put them into place. So those are just a couple different leaf patterns you can do for the middle one, or you can use the template, maybe make the stem a little bit skinnier, make these a little bit smaller, or you could do this one, maybe change how those look a little bit. But again, lots of different variety. Just play around with it to get what you like and then put it into place. And again, we're gonna add so much of the decorative stitching. We're gonna do quilting on the flowers. So it'll be kind of busy. So there's a lot going on. You won't see any like little things that you don't like, I guess. They'll disappear. So let's get on to the quilting. We are going to be using our Spinifex feather to do the quilting in the middle of the flowers. So on the bigger flowers, you're going to use the 4-inch, and on the small one, we're going to use the 3-inch. So we're going to do some quilting. We're going to do all that first before we do the decorative thread. So we're going to do the quilting on the 3 flowers first, and then we'll come back with our decorative thread. So I'm going to get ready for that. So now we're going to do the quilting on our flowers. Oh, and that's the leaf I ended up going with that one. I thought the dark was kind of a nice contrast. I was curious to see how the decorative thread will show up on it later. So that is what I went with. Again, everything's kind of pressed. So I fused everything down now. And we're going to use and play around with this new product. So this is our circle crosshair ruler, and this is the 6x6 one that would have come in your box. I really love this. I have a bigger one, so I haven't got a chance to play with the smaller one yet, so I'm really excited. This is kind of cool. What we're going to be doing is stitching out our Spinifex feather on our flower feather. So we just want to find the middle. And what I'm going to do is use my circle crosshair, because I know this, we're going to be doing a 4-inch feather, and I think these flowers are about 4.5 inch. So I can use the little lines on here, which work really good. And what I'm going to do is try to, because I want the stitched out petal to kind of line up with the petals on the flower. So I'm just going to make sure that these are all going through the center of one of those petals. And that will kind of get me in the center of my flower too. So I've got that one going through. I've got this line, this one, then this line, this one, again, this line. Once everything kind of looks like it's right on line. And I'm just going to mark where my center is at. Isn't that a nice tool to use? I love it. It works super great for doing like if you do a lot of circle sewing, or if you're going to do like an embroidery design that's kind of circular, you want to be able to find the middle of it really quick. I love it. Super easy to use. great new tool. Hope you guys enjoy that. So there is the center of my flower. And we also have the pink thread in. So we're gonna be using the pink thread that came in your box from Wonderful. And let's see what else. Yeah, we're just gonna get started. Oh, I guess I needed to mark my rotation lines. That's goofy. And get that back up here and do that. One thing I did not do. Let me get myself lined up. We will want our rotation lines on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that one right there. And we're gonna want 8 rotations. So I've got those 4, and then I'm gonna turn it to where those line up. Let's see, it got off my center about right there. And do my other 4. All right, there's my rotations. Now I know what I'm doing. Trying to skip steps there. Let's get ready. So if you've done the Spinifex feather before, this might be easy for you. If you haven't, it's a really easy template to use. There's a couple different ways that you can do it that you'll probably see throughout our club and different educators using the template. You can start where you come all the way up and you go to A, and then you come back to B, and then you rotate it and you go up and keep rotating it. Or what I like to do is, and I think I talked about this in my mini quilt block one, if you guys have watched that yet, maybe not. And this was Pam Varner's idea, is just to come up and come all the way back down. And that's kind of nice because then you always come back to the center point. You're going to be doing some backtracking either way. And so when you backtrack, you lay down more thread, obviously. And the A to B, you kind of just backtrack the top. So there's just certain parts of the petal that have like the double thread versus if you just come all the way back down, all the way back up, you're kind of just stitching the whole thing and you have the same look consistent throughout. And I thought it was just easier to keep me on center. So this isn't a rotating template that has a pin. And so sometimes it's kind of easy as you're going around, you kind of get off center. So I feel like coming all the way up and back down, I really keep my center point a little bit more on track too. So that is how we're gonna do it. I'm just going to get myself set up here and we'll get started. So I'm gonna get my needle right down where I marked that center. And I'll try not to bump the camera too much. But again, what we're gonna do is there's a little etched line right here on the template. I'm gonna just come up and then go back down. That's gonna be our first rotation, and then we're gonna do 8 of those. Did I get myself off center again? I think I did. I was busy talking and not paying attention. Okay. And loosen that up. I've got my pink thread in, and yeah, you can pull up your thread too if you want to pull up your bobbin thread. Now is the time to do that as well. And we're just gonna stitch ourselves around. I like to slow down or start a little slower at first. Make sure I've got my ruler work hands and eyes and everything kind of going in the same direction. When you feel like you're good, might speed it up a little bit. There's our first rotation. Come back down to center. And then wait till your machine's completely stopped before you do any moving. I do that frequently where I start moving before the needle stopped moving, and then you kind of mess everything up. So we're going to come to our next rotation and lining up that etched line with our line there. You can start off kind of slow, make sure you're where you want to be. These are going to be fun. We're going to come back and add some little contour lines that give it some definition. So that's going to be a little bit fun. I'm loving this pink on the flower. This is great thread. Thank you, Wonderful. And we're going to keep moving this around. Again, lining up the edge, lined up there. See how easy it is to use. It makes gorgeous little, I mean, it's a Spinifex feather, but I mean, really it's a flower. That's what I see. I see flowers. I think I must have moved my template or something when I was talking and hit it. I don't know. It happened so fast. Anyways, caused a little blurb on one of my petals, but we'll just ignore it for now. Don't think it'll really make a big difference. Okay. Let's just keep going. So what we're going to do is we're going to do little contour lines. We're just going to make some little lines that come up, and it's just going to give the flower definition. So there's no really rhyme or reason. Again, this is kind of where you get to play a little bit with it as far as like length or how far apart. You can just do 1 per petal. You can do 2 per petal. I think on the smaller ones, I just did 1 per petal. And maybe on the larger ones too, on my last, let's see. Oh, I guess I have it right here. I can look at it, huh? That might be helpful. I'll show you guys what we're doing. So what we're gonna be doing here is, we're gonna be doing these lines right here. So on this one, you can see I did 2, and they're just meant to be different lengths. That's just what gives the flower its look. On the littler one here, I just did 1 per. And then on the other bigger one over here, I just did 1 per. So I think you just kind of go with what look you want. I kind of liked the 1 per because the thread stands out a lot. So I just did 1 per petal, and I made them different lengths. But if you want a little bit more of an intense look, I guess it kind of looks like a hibiscus to me, like a hibiscus flower. Wait, can you see that? Yeah, there, where I did 2 per. So go with that or whatever look you want. We're just gonna play around with it and see what we like. Again, there's no set direction on that. You guys can do whatever you want, what looks good. And then as far as kind of to know where to put it, you can use your spacing gauge, you know, if you want it to be very precise. I kind of just put a stitching line disc. We have our teal stitching line disc, and kind of brought it out because I can see where my needle is gonna be. Obviously, if I had it all the way out to here, I can see where my needle is going to be. So sometimes I just kind of like play around with that and be like, okay, I like where that one's going to end up. I'm just going to come up and stop and go back down. And that's what we're going to do all the way around the flower, or feather, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to come all the way up. We're just going to follow. Come as far up as you want. I'm going to stop, go back down. I think for this one over here, because there's a lot of pink going on in this flower already, I'm just going to do 1 per. And then I try to kind of like mix it up per each petal. So if I did a long one, then I try to do kind of a short one or a medium one. And I won't always do it like in the center like that. I might come over and be like, oh, now I'm going to do a short one. See, and I want it to stop kind of maybe right here. Kind of play that out. See, that one's like a little off center. So if you wanted to put another one like right there, you could. I'm going to leave it. Again, I kind of like it not being too uniform. I think it gives it a little more character when it's not a lot of uniform in it. Kind of make it. So I'm going to do this one a little bit further over here and maybe stop it. Come on, do a long one. Come all the way up to there. And you can use your spacing gauge again too if you want to be a little more precise, or you don't like the using your stitching line disc. I don't know why I started doing this. I just did and liked it for some reason. It just was easier for me to visualize. So I think I'm going to come there and I'm going to do just a short one. I think I was a little too close. So I think I got a little too close on that one. So if I did, I think I'm going to just, I'll do 2 on this petal. I don't think that looks bad. Do a short one right there. And this is the fun part where you get to kind of just play being a designer. And it will be unique each time. If you wanted to come back and add another one right through there, we can, or maybe another one on this one we can, or we can just leave it like that. However you want to do it, and we're gonna go into our next one. All right, now set up over here on our next one. I figured I'd film this one again too, since I did had so many issues on my last one. Hopefully this one goes better. Okay. So I got my crosshair lines marked. Super easy to use template and makes a gorgeous flower. I hope you guys have fun playing around with this, especially for spring and summer. There's so many different projects to use. You could use this for. It's kind of fun doing it on some applique. We don't usually do a lot of applique, so this has kind of been fun for me. I really like applique, but I haven't done it. I mean, I've done it a little bit, but not a lot. So I don't always really know what I'm talking about. Really like the pink on the blue too. Hopefully you guys like your color combinations you got with your flowers and the thread we're going to be using. We're going to leave our needle down though, because we're going to do the little lines, but there's your flower. It turns out pretty good. So let's get our little lines going here. I think I'm still going to do just one per. I like it a little bit better. It gets a little bulky when you start adding a whole bunch of them. So, but the nice thing too is these Spinifex feathers, You can get a whole set of them, and they come in larger sizes as well. So if you like the 3" and 4" and you haven't used them before, we have our full Spinifex feather set, which is really cool. A lot of different sizes to play around with. You could do a whole garden. All right, get myself situated here. I did a long one, so now I'm going to come out and do a short one. Just stop it right there. It's finally sunny today and not raining, so I think they are super excited. All right, that is our final round. I'm gonna go give it a quick press and we'll see what it looks like. There we go. That is the blue one. It turned out pretty good. And that's the pink one. Wait. You see the pink one? Yeah, you can see the pink one. That's the pink one right there. There we go. So we are going to do our little one now. We're going to use the 3" feather. So same template, but we're just going to be using this 3" and we're going to do the same thing for marking our crosshair lines. So use our new tool. So this is a 3.5" applique flower, and we're going to be using the 3" Spinifex feather. Oh. Make sure it's right in the center. Again, I'm just trying to line it up so that everything is in the center of one of those petals, so that when I do my rotations, I'm on those petals as well. I think that's pretty good. And put a little mark there. And we're going to rotate it to get my 8 line. Let's see if I centered out very well. There we go. There we go. And we're just going to use follow the same thing that we did before. Basically get this lined up, and we're going to do 8 rotations around, and again we're going to do that using the 3" Spinifex feather. So I better start in one of my lines. Have the nice etched lines up here. There's one in the back too. It's a little bit harder to see, but sometimes you can see that enough too to make sure you're lined up in the back. And that way your rotations will all come out correct. I did one the other day where I was a little bit off, because you can get off marking your crosshair lines too in the slots if you're off to one side a little bit, and then it doesn't quite, you might be just a little off when you're doing your petal. See my line very well, so you can always use your spacing gauge too to make sure that you're about 1/4 of an inch away over here. Maybe you'll stop at the right spot. This fabric was just busy enough that one of my lines looked like one of the leaves. Okay, these are all three done. So there's the big one, the leaves we did, the small one, and the other one. So we are on our way. Next, we are going to do the decorative thread. So we're going to outline everything with a decorative thread and then also do some little veining in our leaves. And if you want, if you think, oh, I don't know, I still want to do some more stuff, you can always play around with the pots. You could do some little scrolly, more decorative thread on the pots if you wanted. Yeah. Anyways, that is where we're at right now. And so I'm going to go get set up and we're going to use the decorative thread. Okay, we are at the sewing machine and we're going to get ready to use our decorative thread. So you would have gotten 3 different spools of thread in addition to the pink one that we're using earlier. But you would have gotten your decorative thread, and then you would have gotten your deco bob, which is going to go in your bobbin. So make sure you fill your bobbin with the deco bob. And then you're going to have the Invisifill. I think it's the Invisifill. That's going to go in your top thread. And then obviously your decorative thread ruler foot. So I just like to put my decorative thread kind of up out of the way, but where I can pull on it as I need it. I'm going to do it this way. Just kind of have it sitting up here on one of my things on my machine. And then you're going to put it through your foot, in the decorative thread foot, just like that. So if you can see that, I have it kind of going through. I'm going to have it to the back. And what we're going to do is we're going to follow around and we're just going to stitch the outside of the flower. And then I have my setting. I have it on a zigzag stitch, and I've already tested it. So what you want to do is make sure when you do your zigzag, use your hand wheel first, and make sure that when you go back and forth, when you're using this, let me just move it out here and I'll show you. So that when it does its little zigzag, I'm not hitting that acrylic middle. And so if you need to shift it over a little bit, go ahead and do that. You just want to make sure it's going to clear that middle, because we're going to do a little zigzag stitch, and that's what's going to help hold down the decorative thread. I think mine at about 1.5, I have it shifted over. I think that works pretty good. So I'm going to put that down. Let me put my, nope, I can't even see this Invisi-thread. It's so thin. I don't know what I did with it here. I think I cut it. Let me put it back. Pull it back around here and rethread it through my machine. It's almost definitely invisible. So the idea is you don't want to take away from your decorative thread, and that's why this Invisifill is really nice, because it's going to help hold it down, but it's not going to, you're not going to really see it, so you still see your decorative thread. And so what I like to do is you're going to be kind of turning the fabric while you're guiding your decorative thread, and you'll be able to feel when it catches your thread. You'll be able to feel the needle kind of and the thread kind of catch it as you're going around. So I like to start out and do first just a couple little stitches and kind of make sure that that's in place there. And then once I feel like I've got a good start, I'm just going to follow. I'm just kind of guiding it and turning my fabric to follow the edge of that flower. And there you can see how it has got it stitched down. Sorry. And I'm going to keep going. And definitely when you first start, you want to go a little bit slower. Just take a little bit of coordination, I guess. You're kind of guiding this one. I'm not pulling it or anything. I'm giving it a little bit of pressure so there's not a lot of slack. And then you just kind of move it around. I'll have to say, we've had the decorative thread ruler foot for some time, and this is the first time I've really ever played with it doing this project. And I did one other project to practice as well, and that's my first time really playing around with the decorative thread ruler foot. I've always loved it. I've loved the look of it. I think I was always just a little intimidated by it. It seemed like a lot to kind of do all at one time. And once you get the hang of it though, it's a lot of fun. And I love just the colors, a little bit of a bling. I love the sparkle of this silver. And of course, Wonderful has all sorts of different colors that are gorgeous, if you like the silver. It's really not that hard, and it just gives it a little bit of, it gives your project just a little bit extra oomph, I guess. I don't know. So again, I'm just trying to stay right at that edge as close as I can. It's not going to be perfect, obviously, but and we've got that fused into place, so it's not going to go anywhere, but kind of just wanted to outline it a little bit. Let's see if you can see that there. So you just see a little bit of the, and so if you like that and you want more, you could actually come back and do another layer on top and give it just even a little bit more of that silver look if you like that. I'm gonna have to turn my fabric here a little bit. No, I want to keep going this way. I don't want my thread to get all. So it's easiest if you're kind of sewing towards you. Kind of at that awkward part of my flower, so bear with me here a little bit as I get myself positioned here. Come back around. See, I'm just kind of slowly moving the fabric as I'm holding this. And you can see whether your needle is getting that zigzag stitch on both sides of it or not. You're going to see a lot of different videos on using the decorative thread. So there's a lot of different, I'm sure there will be a lot of different tips and tricks from the educators on doing it. I think once you start it, you're gonna love it. You're gonna want to do it more. going to come right back to where we started. Then I'm going to just kind of go back and forth just a little bit, give it a nice little finish, hold everything nice and tight, and see what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. This was the one that we started with. And there we go. Got a little left there, but look at that. Isn't that pretty? It just gives it a little bit of sparkle. So I think it could be nice too if you came back out and you just followed along where you laid the first thread. You could do another one, or you could just do it right on top of your other one and give it some dimension and make it a little bit thicker. I think that would be pretty too. So I think just that. And I was just imagining, like, if you're hanging this outside when the sun hits it, be nice and sparkly. So we are gonna do the leaves now. So the same thing, I'm gonna come and I'm gonna follow the leaf design. I don't know if I'm gonna come just straight. I think I'll just probably come down and then straight across there. And then we'll add some like little lines to give like the veins in the leaves. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is start right up here at the very top. Got my threads pulled out here behind. I'm going to try to get my needle right where I was doing my flower. Get a couple stitches going there, and then just follow my stem down. Oops, dropping stuff there. Go a little bit faster when it's a little bit of a easier shape. Stop right at that tip. So I'm trying to decide if I just run along the base of it right there. I think I will, or if I should stop, and I think I'll just run it right along the base. See how close I can get to the top of my pot without actually getting my pot. I've got more thread going here. Wait. Oops. Messed myself up here. Got my flower all messed up. I think I meant to come back this way. we go. Kind of pulled it up there. That kind of pulled it up a little bit when I was turning it the wrong way. Kind of pulled it out of my stitches there. So I think actually I need to come down probably just a little bit more. I didn't come down quite far enough on the other side, so I just have a, no, oh yeah, it looks like I just missed that edge over there. I'm gonna go grab it again. But otherwise, let's take a look at this. Get that out of the way. There. That's what the stem looks like. So I'm going to come back and I'm just going to fix that right there where I snagged my fabric and pulled it when I was turning it. I didn't mean to. So I'm just going to start here and just do another little lay down right there and right there where I pulled up. Anyways, so I'll fix that and then we'll go on and we'll do the same thing on the other ones. Oh, and we're going to add the little stems here. So let me fix that and then we'll come back and add the stems. Okay, so for the stems, I got that all fixed there. I'll have to press it back down. So I just kind of drew on here with my pen to kind of show you. We're just, it's just a little bit of freestyle. So we're just going to put veins in here. So I'm just going to start at one end, come out and do a little leaf, come around, go all the way to the end, maybe come back and then do a little leaf and do a little leaf, or do the little veins there and then come back like that. So I'm just going to get started. You can start either way. There again, this is kind of where you just get to play around and do what, oops, kind of looks good to you. There we go. I didn't quite get my thread. So I'm going to come down here, maybe stop about right there. And then I'm going to turn it toward me this way. And I'm going to come up and do a little I'm going to turn it back, kind of come back down. There. I might come down my stem a little bit more then. Come up on the other side. And if you don't like the double stitching, you don't have to do it this way. You can, oops, my foot got carried away with me. You can just kind of cut it there and then restart back down at the bottom if you feel like it's making if it's making it too thick. So that's kind of what it looks like when you put double down. I could stop it right there though if I wanted to. I'll just put a couple zigzag stitch, kind of back stitch a little bit right there. I can cut it if I don't want it to be super thick. And I can just come back and start down here too. totally up to you, and just kind of pick up. And that way you don't have the double. I'll show you what it looks like. I'm just going to come back over here. I come up all the way over on this one. So this one I'll just stop right there so I can show you if you just wanted to do one. What it would look like with just one versus the thicker. So I think I'll add just one little vein that comes off this way, and then I'll add another little one that comes off the other side. And then we'll add one up over. Let me clip that so we know where we want to start. Still have my thread in there. There it is. Again, it's so light I can hardly see it. So I'm going to start about right where I stopped the other little vein there. Stitches, make sure it's nice and in place. And I think I want to join those just a little bit better. It's a nice thing about this. You can just come back and keep playing with it if you don't like it. All these little extras. And that is what our, get those up. A little bit of veining there on that one. So if you wanted to play more, you could do a little bit more out. Or leave it like it is. I'll leave it as it is for right now since we're just kind of practicing here. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to come around. We're going to outline this flower. Same with this. And we'll add a couple veins here. Same with this flower. And just keep at it. It's really fun. I really enjoy it. It's just kind of a slow process. And again, you kind of just get to play around with it as you're doing it. But yeah, just follow along your other flowers and then do your leaves, and then we'll be right back. There she is. So we are all done. So I just came back and did what I showed you on the first flower, as I did the decorative thread on around the outside, followed my leaves, did a little bit of vein on each one, and I did each one just a little bit differently. Again, I'm just kind of playing around, seeing what it would look like. And I did the little one as well. Did a little vein up and a little vein up. And so that's it. That is the project. Now you can keep doing more to it if you like. You can play around more with your decorative thread, completely up to you. This is where I just kind of stopped the project. So the last but not least though, if you know on the first one that I did, we get the these fun little buttons. So you should have gotten 3 of them, a purple, a pink, and a blue. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to want more of those. So order them while you still can. But what I ended up doing is just using the decorative thread, and I just did a little cross stitch in there. And I just put a couple of them around. So you could add more if you want, but I thought, oh, it's like a wildflower thing. So that made me think of like little wildflower things hanging around in there. So that was kind of fun. So that's all that's left to do on this one, and then bind it and we're done. So I have all my little buttons down here. Again, definitely order some more if you like them. I think they're just the cutest little buttons around. So I'm going to just kind of lay those out, and I'll put those on with my decorative thread. Otherwise, that is the spring project. I hope you you have the instructions again too to refer back to, the printed instructions. I hope you have fun. I'd love to see yours completed. I'd love to see how you did your leaves and stems and how you use the decorative thread and the kind of fabric. I'm not sure which one I like better. I'm not sure if I ended up liking doing my quilting in the background or if I just liked it blank. I don't know. It's so many different options to play around with. So can't wait to see what you guys did. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have fun and enjoy all your little goodies that you got in quarter 2.
Hi, everyone. I did not see many questions that we didn't get answered in there. There was a question in regards to some of the whisper light and how to take advantage of that. We do have a special coupon in the boxes. So if you are an Elevate Club member, there was a special offer for all of you from Whisper Light that you can take advantage of. But again, we hope you love this project. We hope you take advantage of creating something fun. We can't wait to see it on our Westerly by Me. So thank you all so much for joining us today, and happy quilting. Bye-bye.